I have been making some short video clips from some 4K audio that I shot of a live show. Those video clips have been in 1080p with zooming and panning to get in close to the performers. And I wanted to show how I go through that process. The way that I start is with an empty project in DaVinci Resolve. I will drag in my raw footage like this. I'm going to change my project frame rate to match the clip. I will add this soundtrack, which is an edited version of the raw audio file that I recorded on an audio recorder. So these two files are what I'm going to use. So I'll go to the Edit tab and I will drag down that raw video footage and also the audio track. If I select both of these two clips, I can synchronize them. If I hit right click, I can auto align the clips based on the audio waveform. So it's going to line those up. If I zoom out, you can see that these two waveforms are now lined up with each other. Now I'm going to add a full screen version on my second monitor so that I can move over here. If you notice, this video is kind of washed out and not very contrasty. If I go back further into the show, let's go to this part. You can see this is kind of washed out. So this is shot in S-Log format, which gives this washed out looking version of the video. But the reason I do that is because when this is color graded, it will be higher quality color footage and it won't blow out the highlights and give strange colors like a lot of handheld like cell phone footage would. So I'm going to show you how to switch those. If you go back to the Media tab, I can make a couple setting changes. So I'm going to come here to my master project settings, change my timeline resolution to 4K, and I'm going to go to this color management tab and change the color science to color managed. Save those settings. And now I can go to that video clip, and when I right click on it, I can say that the input color space was recorded with Sony S-Log 3. And when I do that, look how the colors become more vibrant, more contrasty, and more accurate. If we click out in here, same thing. So now my colors look correct. Now that we've got the colors set up properly and the audio file synchronized with the video, the next step that I'm going to do is to come in here and find the clip that I actually want to work on. This is about where I want this clip to start. So I'm going to select both of these two files and split the clip right there at the beginning. And I'm going to delete this part away. So that'll go away. Now I'll find the end of the song.
That jukebox every weekend.
Okay, so let's get rid of the extra. So we're going to split it, delete these. And now I'm going to fine tune the beginning and end points. So let's start at the beginning. And I'm going to use my jog wheel to go frame by frame to figure out exactly where I want this to start. Let's start it right there. So we're going to select both of the clips, split, ripple delete that, go to the end, and let's hone in on the end. Right there. So we'll select both, split the clips, throw away these ones. Okay, now I'm going to show you something about the audio. So when I record this, I record with a stereo microphone on the camera, and I also record with an other audio recorder that I have mounted on my rig that gives me a second audio file, and then I can decide later which of the two I like better. I've already edited this audio 2 clip from that external recorder. So let me show you the difference in the sound. So if I mute the second recorder and just go with the camera audio, this is what it sounds like. Okay, now let's listen to the other version. So this other version sounds fuller because it records better on the bass. And in fact, when I worked on this, I actually had to cut some of the bass down. And I like bass in my audio recording, so I'm going to keep this version. But what I'm going to do is, if you see here, the volume on this is fairly low. So I'm going to raise the volume of this clip, but right in this area, if I zoom in on this, it gets a little loud right in this one little spot. So let's see what that sound, what's going on right there. Okay, so if I was to click on this clip and I go up here to this inspector, this is the overall volume for this clip. I could probably bump this up a little bit. Let's bump it up 3 decibels and see what it does. If I do that, the rest of the clip looks good, but it kind of clips off right in this area. And when you get clipping like that, it can cause distortion. So you have to be careful. So let's listen to that and see if it sounds okay. Okay, it sounded okay. So most people are not going to notice that even if that's clipped off like that. So let's leave that alone. And now the rest of the audio for this is louder than it was. So I'm using more of the headroom that's available to me. So let's stick with that. So with that set up and the clip set up, now we can go in and do panning and zooming and do the creative stuff that I want to do with this clip. On my right-hand monitor, what you see now, you can see the controls that I'm going to be using for editing. On the left-hand monitor, we've got the full screen video. So first, we're going to watch a little bit of this and see how I might be able to zoom in on this and make it a tighter framing. So let's take a look. Let's make this a little bit tighter so that when I zoom out in center with my camera a little bit later, it ends up looking right. You'll notice that this is a little bit tilted, and the reason for that is because I was filming this on a monopod instead of a tripod, and when you're filming on a monopod and you can't pre-level everything, it can be a little shaky and it can be a little bit tilted to one side or the other. So, but we can fix that now. So let's start out by creating, if I go to video here, I select the video clip, I'm going to create a keyframe at the beginning of this clip where I'm going to change the zoom, the position, and the rotation angle. So let's first get this thing leveled. And the way that I'm going to do that is I'm going to look at this, this box that's right here, and I'm going to rotate it. I'm looking on my big screen. You can't see it as well on the small screen, but I'm going to rotate this by clicking and dragging left and right on this number until it's level. That looks level to me. In other parts of this clip, there is a video wall in the back that I can use to level things out. Okay, so now let's zoom in on this a little bit and pan to the right by sliding it to the right like this. Now if I go too far, I'm going to go off the side of the clip. So we're going to go about like this, and let's raise it up just a little bit like that. That looks pretty good. Now I'm going to let this play and see if the framing remains the same or if it gets messed up. Okay, so it took a little shift to the left and made this performer kind of a little bit too close. So let's undo that little shift in the software. So I'm going to crank this back. So here's where the shift happens, right there. Let's undo that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find the frame just before it shifts, and I'm going to put in a new keyframe here. Boom, boom, boom. And now I'm going to move to the end of that shift. So I'm going to first find a reference point. So here's this head that's right here. That's where we're going to have it be after it shifts. So let's move it forward. Boom. Okay, so now we're going to put in another keyframe. Bam, 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 and shift that position, the X position, back. Right like that. Now, if we crank back, it'll look a little bit more clean. There'll probably be a little bit of a joggle there, but it'll still end up looking all right. Much better. When I zoomed out, it shifted a little bit. I think I could probably center it right in this area so that this cutout opening is the same on either side, and it would look pretty good. Let's try that, see what it looks like. Okay, let's put a keyframe here. Bam, bam, bam. And then shift this like that. There. Now, we can use these little arrows that are right here to go through the keyframe positions. So let's go back a couple and play. So that looks all real good. Good. So the natural zooming and panning that I'm doing with the camera in real time is complementing the crop that I gave it. So let's see. Let's continue with this and see if it still continues to look good. So that all looked real good. The zoom out went a little wide, but I don't necessarily mind that because it shows all of the lighting and the video effects that are going on. So I think I'm going to keep it that way. That looked real good. I like how that turned out. At the end, it could be a little wider to show like all of these lights, all of these stage lights. Let's just see. No, this is about the performers in this clip. So I'm going to leave it the way that it is. Okay, great. So now that we have that looking pretty good throughout, I'm going to take another look at it and see if we can add some close-up shots that might highlight the different performers. Let's do a close-up on this little part, I must confess. So she walks over. We'll put a close-up right there. So the way that I do this is first we have to put a keyframe in to the original footage. Keyframe, keyframe, keyframe. And then I split it right there. And now we go to the end of the close-up. So this is where we'll end the close-up. So we're going to split it here again. And before I snip that, let's put another keyframe in. Keyframe, keyframe, keyframe. Now we split it. So now these two clips, the one before and the one after, should have keyframes on them that will keep them at their original zoom. And now I need to come to this one and move my cursor into it so it highlights that clip like that with red. And you can see that there's the keyframe there. I wonder if on the previous frame, okay, the previous frame doesn't have the keyframe there, but let's go ahead and put one there just in case to fix it. Okay, now we go to this clip. There's the starting keyframe. Come to the end, put the ending keyframe, and make sure that on the next one, okay, it's got a starting keyframe that's the same. Now, if I go to the previous keyframe, it's here, and I'm going to zoom in all the way to a 2x zoom. And I can do that because I shot this with 4K footage, and a 2x zoom is 1080p, so I'm not losing any resolution whatsoever. So we're going to give this a 2x zoom, go to the next keyframe, which is the end of the clip, and give that a 2x zoom. There. So now this should be consistent throughout the clip. So now we're going to position the frame so that it looks right. So let's slide this over to the left and bring it down like that. Maybe we'll put it about like this. And we're going to slide it even further over to the left like this. But I go too far, and now I can see my black bars on the left-hand side. There. And my level still looks level here. And so my position is 1867 and 726. So I'm going to move to the next keyframe. 1867 and 726. There. So now I should get the same look throughout this whole frame. So let's come back here and we'll watch it through the transition. Okay, that looked pretty good. It wasn't too jarring. What we might do is make the stage, the floor of the stage, be consistent between the two clips. That might make the transition a little bit smoother. Let's see if that works. And the way that I'll do that is on my big monitor here, I'll just put my finger on the monitor, and then I'll switch to the next clip, and then I'll grab the Y position and I'll move it so that the floor ends up in the same spot on my monitor. And that puts the Y at 814. So let's go to that transition and go to 814. There. So now let's watch that again and see if it feels a little bit more smooth. I don't know that it's any better than it was, but it still looks good, so I think I'm going to keep it that way. One of the rules of thumb is when you're doing jump cuts like that, if you have a subject who's the center of attention, if you can keep them in the same place on the screen, it will be less distracting when you switch from cut to cut. Okay, let's watch more of the clip and see if there are any other places where we might make a cut like that and give somebody a highlight. Now, we could do another one right there where we do the Hit Me Baby One More Time dance move. Let's do that, just for the fun of it. Do a nice tight close-up on that spot. Right here is where we'll put the close-up. So we're going to snip this one. Actually, put the keyframe in first. Boom, boom, boom. Split it. Move to the previous clip. Let's see. Give us our keyframe here. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, then come to the end. There, and that's where the next one's going to happen. So, keyframe, split it, go back one frame, put in that keyframe, and now let's go back to here. And so between these two keyframes, it actually changed a little bit from the natural zoom of the clip. We may have to fix that. But let's go here, make our zoom 2, and position it so that it looks right. Let's just change the Y position. There, like that. So this is -34 and 763. -34, 763, 2. There we go. All right. So now let's go back to this keyframe and just watch this little clip and see how it changes. Okay, that looked pretty good. So let's watch it through. Nice. Okay, let's keep on watching. I feel like this could be tighter. Let's just try it and see. I can always undo it if I don't like it. And the way that we're going to do that is we're going to go back to here. And this keyframe, we're going to give it a tighter zoom. Let's make this 1.5 and see what happens. And our Y value is going to go up so that there and there. Let's watch the transition from the close-up. Okay, that was good. I like that tight close-up on them when they're performing. Now we're going to have to work on the zoom back out. So what we're going to do is we're going to keep it tight where the lens is tight. And this is where the zoom starts to happen. So right here, we're going to put a keyframe so that it stays locked to that position up to that point. And now let's watch the zoom out. So there's the zoom out. And what we're going to do is put a keyframe here and make it how we want it to be. So first of all, let's fix the Y position. And let's zoom it out just a little bit further. And maybe make our... Do we need to mess with the X? The X looks pretty good. Let's see what that looks like during the zoom. And no matter what I do, I feel the pain. That framing looks pretty good. It's a little tight on the sides, but it's not cutting anybody off, so I think it's nice. I want it to be a little wider because I want to see those lights. So let's come back to where was the last? There it was. Okay. So there must have been a zoom that I did to pull this in here. Let's see where I can find it. There it starts. So that's the frame where the zoom starts. So we're going to give ourselves a keyframe. Move to the end of the zoom. There. And then we're going to give ourselves another keyframe and adjust this digital zoom out very slightly, like this, and shift the X a tiny bit to center up on those spotlights. There. Let's see how that looks. It could be a little wider. Let's go back to that keyframe again. It's right there. Let's cheat this out. Maybe make it 1.25. There. Maybe 1.2. No. 1.23. Okay, let's watch that. Okay, so there's my next little twitch of a zoom. That all looks good. Do I want it? Let's do one more zoom out towards the end. We'll zoom out during the last final hit me. Okay, so let's put a keyframe here. Boom. And then we're going to go to the end. And what I'm trying to do is get it zoomed out before these lights come on. So let's be out by the time we get there. So here's our keyframe. Boom, boom, boom. Let's zoom this out. Okay. Let's do it like that. How much further could I go? We'll do here, and then we'll move the Y position down like this. Ooh. Yeah. Okay, that looks good. Let's see how that looks. Better. There, now we can see these rays of light coming out in every direction. Yes. Okay. Now that all that work is done and we have all of our zooms in place, we want to put some transitions in between these clips. So the way you do that is you select them like this, and I hit Control T to pop a default transition in. And when I do that, if I zoom in here, you can see that it's put some transitions between these clips. So it's not a hard jump cut like it was.
I must confess, I still believe.
Good. All right. But when you do that, it puts them at the beginnings of the clips also. So I'm going to come in here and delete those away. And I will fade in from black by pulling this handle right here, and I'll give it a 1 second fade in, and that may be too much. Let's see, so 30 frames, there's a 1 second, and I'll fade in the audio also, which may also be too much. So let's see what that looks like. That didn't look bad. Let's make the audio fade in half as fast, or twice as fast. Okay, let's go to the end and get rid of that fade and fade out. Let's use a half second first and see if that's too much. We'll do a half second fade out for the audio also. That looked pretty good. Let's fade the audio a little bit longer. And let's pull video out to a second also. We lose a little bit of her facial expression that she throws out there. The Britney face. Let's keep that like that. Okay, so now we can watch the whole thing and see if we're happy with it. Okay, that wasn't bad. The only thing that it seems to me might improve it is there was a long stretch where there was nothing going on. Right in there somewhere, we need another cut. We need another zoom. We need it right there during that loneliness is killing me part. Because there's not enough going on in this scene. Yeah. Bam, right there. So we're going to do it the same way. Now let's see how that looks. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Okay, now we're going to put transitions in by clicking here and here and here. Control T to put the transitions in. Let's make sure that, okay, that put another transition in at the end. We need to get rid of it now. Get rid of that. And it should not have put one in the beginning. So there we go. So let's watch this part of the clip again. Come over here. That's it. Good. Okay. So now we've got all of the edits that we might want, and it's time to export this out. And we're going to go to this Deliver tab. The way that I do this is I click on this button right here, which is sort of a preset with high video settings. I change this QuickTime to an MP4 file, change the resolution that it's going to export at to 1080p, and then give it a file name and a location. So this is going to go in here, an American Jukebox. What do we want to call this? Hit me. Hit me, baby. Save that. So when I hit add render queue, it adds that job to this queue up here. And if I say render all, it will render it. Okay. So now we're done. I can now upload this to YouTube and share it with the performers. And so my customer who wanted a widescreen shot of this whole show will be happy. And now I'm happy because now I have something that's a little bit more interesting and dynamic. And the performers will be happy because I can give this to them and they can put it in their performance reels. So you should be able to catch this final version of the clip out on my YouTube channel. See you next time.